Imagine having a remote control for your subconscious mind. Sounds far-fetched? Well, neuroscience has uncovered that your brain is constantly running simulations, creating mental movies of possibilities that shape your future. In the next few minutes, you'll learn how to direct these inner simulations to transform your life, backed by cutting-edge brain science. Your brain has been keeping a secret from you. Right now, it's running millions of simulations, creating detailed models of reality that shape everything from your daily habits to your biggest life decisions. This internal reality simulator isn't just a passive observer. It's the architect of your experience, the gatekeeper of your potential, and the key to conscious creation. But here's the breakthrough. Recent neuroscience has mapped how this simulator works, and through the Transformation Cortex framework, you can learn to program it directly. No more being held back by subconscious limitations. No more wondering why your manifestation efforts aren't manifesting. Today, you'll discover how to align your brain's reality simulator with your conscious intentions, creating a direct path to the life you want to create. Think of your brain's reality simulator like a sophisticated video game engine. Just as a game engine creates virtual worlds you can interact with, your neural simulator creates your entire experience of reality. But here's where it gets interesting. This simulator doesn't just process what's happening now. It's constantly running scenarios of possible futures, actions, and outcomes. Many people try to force change through willpower alone, not realizing they're fighting against their brain's pre-existing simulations. It's like trying to play a new game while an old one is still running in the background. Let me show you what's really happening in your mind. When you set a goal or try to create change, your brain immediately starts running simulations based on past experiences, current beliefs, and predicted outcomes. These simulations aren't just thoughts. They're complex neural patterns that integrate visual imagery, emotional responses, and physical sensations. You now understand why traditional approaches to change often feel like an uphill battle, because your reality simulator might be running old programs that don't align with your conscious goals. Next up, how to access and reprogram these neural simulations using the Transformation Cortex framework. Your brain's reality simulator operates through three distinct but interconnected processes: spatial modeling, temporal sequencing, and energy allocation. The Transformation Cortex framework maps directly onto these natural brain functions. Think of it like this. When you're learning to drive a car, your brain needs to simulate the spatial relationships, where everything is, the temporal sequences, what happens when, and the energy patterns, how much force to use. The same processes apply to any change you want to create in your life. Common pitfall. Most people focus on just one aspect, usually either visualization, spatial, or action steps, temporal, while ignoring the crucial energy patterns that make change stick. Here's how the framework integrates all three. Spatial component. This is where your brain creates detailed models of what you want to achieve. Temporal component. This is how your brain sequences the steps and anticipates outcomes. Energy component. This is how your brain allocates resources and maintains momentum. You now have a map of how your brain naturally creates and sustains change. Next up, practical techniques to program each component of your reality simulator. Finding these concepts helpful? I've created a carefully structured learning journey at the Transformation Cortex, where each playlist builds on the previous one, making complex topics digestible and actionable. Instead of collecting random pieces of wisdom, you'll discover how everything connects. Consider sharing this resource with others on their own transformation path. Now let's continue unlocking today's insights together. Now it's time to take the controls. Just as a programmer writes code to create specific outcomes, you can program your reality simulator using precise inputs that your brain naturally understands. Here's the breakthrough insight. Those vision boards and task lists you've been using, they're actually external interfaces for programming your internal simulator. But when you understand the neural code behind them, you can program your simulator directly. Many people create beautiful vision boards or detailed plans, but forget to integrate them with their brain's natural simulation processes. Let's break down the programming process. 1. Spatial programming. Create clear multisensory models of your desired outcomes. 2. Temporal programming. Design sequences of actions that your brain can simulate and reinforce. 3. Energy programming. Establish the emotional and physical actions, habits, and patterns that sustain change. Think of it like upgrading your brain's operating system. Each time you consciously program your reality simulator, you're strengthening the neural networks that support your desired outcomes. You've just discovered the science behind conscious reality creation. Through the Transformation Cortex framework, You now have direct access to your brain's reality simulator, the very system that shapes your experience and determines what you achieve. Remember, your brain is already running simulations every moment. The only question is whether they're random programs from your past or conscious creations aligned with your future. The power of this approach lies in its integration of neuroscience with psychology of the subconscious and a understanding how they interact in practical application. When you do vision boards, task lists, and habit formation, you're not just thinking differently. You're literally reprogramming the neural networks that create your experience of reality. Start noticing the simulations running in your mind. Are they supporting the reality you want to create?